and he fell for our first hazing. All right, well, let's start with our top story this morning, Brandon. Blazers-Lakers Game 4 last night, and if I'm being honest, it was really just Lakers. 43 first-quarter points for the Lakers. They never looked back. LeBron carried all with 30. Dame Lillard tried to, but could not. Finished with 11. He had to leave the game in the third with a knee injury, awaiting MRI results on that. So Lakers win 135-115, an easy win for them. They go up 3-1 in the series now. Brandon, let me start with you. After what you saw last night, do you think this Blazers run is essentially over? They find themselves in a 3-1 hole, a 1-3 hole rather, to the Lakers. It seems like an uphill battle for them that might be just a little too steep.
Oh, man. It's official. This run is officially over. Dame time is over, and I hate to see it. What guy would you rather go for and root for outside of Dame? I mean, this guy doesn't chase rings. The last 10 years, we've seen so many guys bounce from team to team chasing rings. You got Paul George on the other end. This guy comes from Weber State. He has a tremendous outing in a bubble, and now it's over. I hate to say it, Nick, but the Lakers look amazing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they look like the Lakers. Amazingly, the Lakers didn't take the seeding games that seriously because they had the 1 seed locked up, and they came out in the first quarter of the first game of the playoffs bad, and people wanted to write them off. Listen, first of all, I hope Dame's knee is okay. There would be nothing more unfair to Dame and the Blazers fans if it ends up being a bad thing that they made the playoffs, that he has to go into next season with some type of injury or after some type of procedure because he hurt himself in Game 4 of the first round. So let's hope his knee's okay. But outside of the injury, you mentioned, Brandon, Dame does things the right way, doesn't chase rings, stays in one place. Well, yeah, but you're also kind of seeing why some guys do it a different way. Because Dame's seasons keep ending in his team either getting swept or losing in 5. Because it is really, really hard to win titles in this league. And it is impossible if you don't have a collection of great players around you, or at least one other true superstar level player around you. And while CJ's a really good player, he is not a superstar level player. And that is why this idea that the Blazers were ever going to give the Lakers real trouble, I thought was such insanity, no matter how well the Blazers looked when they were playing playoff games in the bubble and the Lakers were sleepwalking through it. You saw Brandon, you've seen laid to bear throughout the last 3.5 games, all the structural advantages the Lakers have. Yeah. They are a great defensive team. They have the best player on the court. They are far more physical, and they can survive bad shooting nights when the Blazers can't. Like, there were a lot of, to me, flashing red lights warning any folks who thought the Blazers could beat this Lakers team, and you've really seen it over the last 3 games, Brandon.
Yeah, we saw the best of the Lakers last night. I mean, it was unbelievable watching that first quarter. We talked about this yesterday on the show where it's like, is this playoff mode or is this blood in the water mode? I think this is really, let's hit our mid-season stride mode. It takes guys months to get to the point where the Lakers were last night. This restart, LeBron took advantage of this. He is the biggest beneficiary of the restart. I mean, last night was a show. AD looked tremendous. Kuz was hitting his shots. Green was hitting their shots. I don't see how this team loses, because you're right on. They play defense. They can score in the paint. They have great coaching. And I don't know if they have the best player, because I'm still a Luka fan and I'm not going to jump off that bandwagon. But LeBron looked amazing.
Guys, do you think you got the best Trailblazers, Nick? Just be honest. Did you look at that team in that game last night in the first quarter when you're up 10-0? Were you looking around and be like, woof, these are the real bubble Blazers? Or are you looking at them like, you know what? We're playing a team that punched itself out through the first 6 rounds, and we're coming in the 7th round, and we're going to put the final nail in the coffin?
No, I looked at a team that knew they were beat because they were up against, again, it's been a decade, America. If you want to beat playoff LeBron, you better have 4 Hall of Famers on your team. That's the barrier for entry. You want to beat playoff, then count them off.
Oh,
you gotta have 3 no doubt Hall of Famers and probably 4. That's been the rule in this league ever since the Tenor Finals against the Mavs.
Nick put Draymond in the Hall of Fame. Now he's trying to walk it back. You just put Draymond in the Hall of Fame, and now you're trying to walk it back.
Draymond's a no doubt Hall of Famer. Draymond's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, good.
No doubt Hall of Famer.
Good. Explain that.
I agree. I just thought you were trying to walk it back.
Because he...
No, Draymond Green was the 3rd most important player on one of the 2... No doubt. No, but go back. The Spurs too. They had 4 no doubt Hall of Famers in Kawhi and Duncan and Manu and Tim. Like, that's the barrier for entry. And folks are going to keep forgetting that. And so what the Blazers was mentally defeated because they're like, God dog it. This guy, this is our reward for the unbelievable bubble stretch we had. So it's not that the Blazers punched themselves out. It's that they got punched out by going up against the LeBron James team, Jenna.
You made such an interesting point earlier, Nick, and Wilds, I'll ask you, would the Blazers have almost been in better shape heading into next season had they not even made the playoffs or played great in the bubble and just came close with tons of optimism? Everybody's healthy. Everyone's on the bandwagon. Now they seem a little more deflated. Dame might be hurt. You're not sure what state of mind they're in heading into next season. You almost wonder if they would have been in better shape had they not even made the playoffs, Wilds. Your Blazers.
I think it's a good question, Jenna. I think there's a question of, like, win the bubble, lose the war. You fight to get into the playoffs only to be sort of spent. And I think when game 2 you're down 33, game 3 you're down 14, game 4 you're down 38. That's not like a quality team. That's a team that is just spent. So the question is, like, would I rather be the Suns and have that post game and say, like, wow, we're really looking up, our future is bright? Or are you looking at the Blazers like, hey, we had our moment, we peaked. Should we blow up this team? Should we move Melo to New York so you can have this real homecoming, which is what I want? But yeah, I think I'd rather be the Suns, to be honest with you.
Well, Brandon, let me ask you. Let's assume. Listen. Assume Dame is not seriously injured.
Yeah.
If Dame's seriously injured, then the worst thing that ever happened to them is Karis LeVert missing that shot. Karis LeVert makes that shot, they're not even there. So let's just assume Dame is healthy. What do you think? Who do you think feels better, Brandon, if Dame's healthy? Players on the Suns who went 8-0 in the bubble and just missed out, or the Blazers who fought their way into the postseason and looks like it's going to be a gentleman's sweep in 5? As a player, who do you think feels better?
100% the Blazers. I mean, the run they've had in the bubble, and it's not over. I know they're down 3-1, and it looks like it's impossible, but they're still there in the bubble. That's what it's about. It's about winning. These guys, it comes down to a finger and now a knee. If this guy never dislocated his finger, they're in this series. Think about this run Dame had. This is a historical run that we're seeing. I don't, come on, man. You got to stick up for your team. How are you jumping ship when this is your team?
Have you met Wilds? It's not what he does.
We're far. We're far away from a finger. I think we need a whole nother. It wasn't just.
Wilds ready to blow it up. Blow it up.
Lakers can close out the series.
I'm not ready to blow it up. I'm ready to do some severe remodeling.
Hey, we got to talk some football on the other side. Who's happier than Cam Newton right now? Nobody, says Cam Newton. Talking Patriots next. First things first.